The work of centering myself and decentering my husband, what I had to do was I had to get physically fit. For years, I had pushed my physical health and my physical fitness to the back burner because, as many women can relate, there were just so many things that seemed to require my time and focus and energy more than me. For those years prior.
Okay guys, I'll be right back. Let me go fix myself real quick, okay? I'll be right back. Hey guys, hi YouTube. I'm back. Okay, what do you guys think? No. I put myself a little bit together. This woman that said she was decentering her husband, and it was divided. There's people that were totally supportive, and then there's people that are like, no girl, what the heck are you doing? What is the point of being married if you're gonna decenter your husband? I totally understood where she was coming from, and I totally get, when you look at all the steps that she took, I totally got it. I was like, girl, I understand. People don't understand that when you get married and you have kids, you're gonna have to sacrifice. Okay, if you're not ready to sacrifice, like, don't even bother about that life. You don't want it, because when you become married and you guys have kids, it becomes about the kid and making sure that the kid is good. With that, moms are sacrificing and dads are sacrificing in different ways. So, for example, in our situation, having a one-income household pretty much, and with that, he's doing most of the stuff. So he's always at work Monday through Sunday, feels like it, you know, doing handiwork and all the handyman stuff, fixing houses and all that. They're always gone. There's always work. With that, I'm usually the one home. So with being home, I'm responsible for a lot of things that go on, you know, in every day. And also those things are work. People think that just because you're home, somehow, you know, things are easier, you're not doing that much. You are. Because everything else that my husband can't get to, I'm getting to. So over time, when you guys are doing this, and before your kids get older and stuff like that, you're gonna find yourself sacrificing a lot of things. One of the first things I can say that I agreed with is how you look. Sometimes how you look is gonna take the back burner, meaning that you may not be exercising, you may not eating the best, you may not even care if your eyebrows exist or not, because you're focusing on the family, you're focusing on everything else. And you try to focus on being a good wife and all this stuff. And what ends up happening, at some point you get lost. I spent the first couple of years after our son was born, I didn't know who the hell I was. I didn't recognize myself. And I had to fight so hard, just like what, 2 to 3 years ago, to start bringing myself back. Because I had to really look in the mirror and ask myself, who was I before I got married, before I had a child? And what dreams did I have and goals did I have? And can I find a way to accomplish them in some way? You know, I have a supportive husband, thank God. I know there's some men that are not, but this happens, right? So in the process, what she mentioned was she started working out, she saw a therapist, she started cooking healthy meals. Even if the husband didn't want to eat them, you know, she would say, hey, you want to join me and have some salad or whatever? And if not, then she's like, do you want me to cook something else for you, or do you want to go order something? And things like that. She also said that at some point she was willing to sacrifice that the marriage might fall apart if she's going through this stage, but also because her husband worked on himself and he actually went to counseling as well, they were able to come together and compromise at some point. Because to expect somebody to just let themselves completely go, their whole identity, it's not good. Because what ends up happening is that person starts resenting you. And one of the things my husband tries not to do is to make me resentful, where I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I never got to do this, I never got to do that. Like, it's because I was raising your child and I never, you know, he never wants me to feel that way. So he's like, you know, whatever you got to do to make yourself feel good and feel amazing and feel normal, do it. So for example, I love dancing. I want to at some point start taking dance classes or going out to go dancing once, like maybe twice a month. And my husband doesn't enjoy dancing. So at some point we have to figure out how we're going to do this. If not, I might have to just go by myself in places where I can dance. This is important to me. He enjoys playing soccer, and I'm like, you take some time to go play soccer with your friends, because we have to figure this out, because our son is now getting older and we have to figure out what makes us happy ourselves and what makes us happy together. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to end up being like, oh, well, I didn't get to achieve my dreams and goals because I was busy doing this, being a husband, being a wife. We don't want to ever get to that. So I really love this idea where people are really focusing on prioritizing yourself, even if you're married. Because people think that because you're married, somehow you cannot want things. There's certain things that you just cannot want. If you dare say, I want space, some people look at that as like, you don't want to be around your husband. No, you're with the person 24/7. Well, most are. And there's times that you need to get that space. Sometimes maybe travel outside somewhere by yourself and come back, so that when you really do get together, you find yourself missing each other and you're like, wow, this is so much worth it. So at the end of the day, I totally understand where she was coming from. You have to take steps for yourself to get to the place that you need to be to feel fulfilled, because that fulfillment doesn't come with just being married. Sorry to say, but marriage does not complete you. You have to figure out that identity on your own, and somehow marriage is a partnership that brings you together in a way where you have somebody that you connect with, somebody that makes you feel loved and all this stuff, but they don't complete you inside. If you are broken inside and there's a lot going on inside, the person can't fix that for you. So marriage is this beautiful thing that joins people together, and you raise kids together and do things together, but you also have to figure out how to get your identity in there. So for me, I totally understood where she was coming from, because she said, for example, she's been a thin woman most of her life, and she was like, you know what, I want to build some muscle. And I was like, okay, I'm with you, girl, because I'm trying to build muscle too. So it's this thing where I feel like there's some cultures where when people get married, it's all about, you're a wife now and he's a husband, and therefore how dare you think of anything to try to do things by yourself. And that's where sometimes the problem comes. People find themselves kind of just doing everything so joint that sometimes you can get tired of someone in a way. I'm not saying that tired like you hate him or whatever, but you get seeing each other every single day. I'm telling you, there's sometimes that you just like, man, this person, can they go somewhere so I can get some time for myself and be able to collect my thoughts together. This happens. This is very normal, especially after years and years of being married. So you definitely have to figure out how to compromise, but also how do you also get your needs met, because this is crucial. I've watched people that have come on here that are divorced that are saying the things that cause that, and some of them are very justified, because people don't understand that. Why would you want, you want to go dancing, like you're breaking up over going dancing? No, that's not what that's about. That's about somebody saying, this is what would give me fulfillment, and I'm not getting it. So, and I brought it over to this person, I brought it up, try to work it out, and they don't seem to understand that side. So you know what? It's not working for them. So I don't judge people that are like, hey, it's not working, because there's no point into being something, as I always say, that doesn't satisfy you, that makes you feel some way. You know what I mean? So for me, I really understand where she was coming from, and I understand people that are like, hey, you have to center yourself as well while you're in a marriage or in a relationship. Once you have kids, you have to figure this system out of how to prioritize yourself. It is very important. Prioritizing yourself means going after some goals and dreams. If you need to get into fitness, if you need to eat better, if you need to travel, if you need to go back and take some classes and get that degree that you put on hold. These are things that give your life that little, excitement or maybe meaning. And so when you come back together to the person you're with, it's just so much better. And you're never gonna be sitting back and thinking, well, I sacrificed to be your wife, I sacrificed because I was raising your children, and now I don't have anything for myself. You don't want somebody to feel that, because that can cause like a lot of issues. So for me, I loved everything that she said about the stuff that she was doing differently. And for example, that counseling was really, I love that she went to counseling and realized that she spent her whole life, really in this role of a wife, while putting aside things. She said, for example, like there's some things that the husband did that she would, drinking. They used to drink together so much. And she realized that without the husband and her focusing on herself, she no longer wanted to drink. She just wanted to really, really be working out and eating better and all that stuff. She didn't want to drink anymore. So that drinking thing that they were doing that kept them together is now something that is non-existent. And she's like, I kind of stopped drinking because I no longer are doing it just because I want to make sure my husband is good. Because that happens too. There's some things you don't enjoy, but you do it with your partner to try to make them feel, to make them feel like you're together and you're enjoying. But in reality, you might just be like, man, I don't really like this, So sometimes it's just figuring out a way like, hey, these are the things you do together. These are the things that you enjoy by yourself, and doing them and not being resentful later on. So for me, I totally understand prioritizing yourself. I'm not saying don't prioritize your partner, but find a way to do both. And sometimes, there's people that are willing to maybe sacrifice their marriage for it, which is a bit on the far side, but I totally get it.